Okay, we have the kit off the truck again. I just wanted to show some different options. These are like, this part is expensive. It's always gonna be expensive. The shock's expensive, but there's always things that you can do that are gonna be a little bit more money, but almost necessary. But you don't have to do everything like all at once like I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get all the parts stacked up and then do it that way I can film it and show you all the little different options. This is something like I want to kind of go over like the gussets and like all the options that you can do. Like this right here from KPO, these guys are freaking awesome. Shout out to those guys. Super nice. Talked to the owner on the phone the other day. These are the bolts that are going to be going on the Toyota. These are the cam eliminator set. So it basically takes your stock cam, right? Weak little stock cam, and it basically locks it inside of that cam tab so that you know, you don't have any problems with it trying to spin on you, or you know, big hits and you know, off-road use. It'll tend to spin these and throw your alignment off. These, get rid of it. Yeah, you're not going to be able to get these, you know, crazy alignments, but when you're going this route, you're not really worried about too much alignment. And it's not like you can't align the truck. It's just going to be based off of, you know, your uppers and your you know, wherever you set this, because this has, you know, different measurements, and you can see that little hole just kind of making its way through. I mean, it's super smart. If you ask me, this is the bolt that's going to be going through. It's freaking huge. I mean, that's the biggest bolt probably on the entire truck. It replaces this. You know, this would fit in there. They're perfect, you know. Oops, perfect when I don't push the bushings out. But yeah, they're awesome. I've put them on a whole bunch of trucks. This is something that they also would recommend too, I'm sure. This is the these are the gussets, or like the cam tab gussets. You can watch a video on how to do these. You know, I'll probably show a little bit. It's basically just drilling out two or three holes that are on all four, you know, cam tabs, and then welding this in. It's awesome. I think though, like if you're on a budget and you're like, oh, I don't have the money to, like, you know, go full long travel. Say you're on, right, your mid-travel setup, which there's a over there, same deal that was on my truck. If you're on a mid-travel setup, you can run, you know, stuff like this and then like this, right? And that really like puts the truck like on a whole different ball game. Like you're gonna be able to push the truck a little bit harder because you have the sense, like, peace of mind that, okay, my lowers are locked in, right? They're not gonna be bouncing around on me. They're not gonna, you know, have a failure. This, not gonna have a failure, you know. These are your weak points. You know, the lower cam tabs, your spindles, your steering, stuff like that. That's all stuff that, like, you can put it as crazy of a, you know, boxed and uniball, you know, whatever upper, spend $1 bajillion on it. It's not gonna do anything if your lower bolts, you know, leave the chat, or say this thing just bends in half. You know what I mean? It's not going to do you any good. It's useless at that point. It's only going to put more stress on that spindle, more stress on these, you know, all the other components, versus, you know, doing whatever for the upper ball joint or upper arm, you know, some, you know, cheap upper arm, whatever, you know, something that's not going to break, obviously, but something that's, you know, not crazy expensive. This is where I'd spend my money. You spend the money on the gussets. You spend your money on all the, you know, what else I got in here? I have these guys in my pile of parts. I have to get a better way of filming all this stuff. But, you know, your uppers, This is your gusset kit for the upper control arm. You know, and that's all stuff that's going to be spent, and like stuff that's going to really benefit the entire chassis, from, you know, all the way up from the upper control arm being double sheared to the lower control arms being, you know, beefed up, bigger bolts, you know, stuff like that. That's all money in my book. I think that's more important than any other mod you're going to do, sick mod you're going to do on a truck, because this is not like super cool bling stuff, really. I think it looks cool once it's all on. I think it actually does make a difference as far as when you're looking at it, but this is all stuff that's like more important in my opinion than, like, even before you go full, you know, full kill on the arms and stuff like that, like what I'm doing. Spend your money on this, spend your money on that, and that little setup. This is a small expense for, you know, bending a whole knuckle on the trail, you know, trying to weld that thing back together or something, or snapping a upper bolt, you know, because you're pushing the truck too hard and you got your, you know, family in the car or whatever. This is all, you know, besides a cage, up there with, you know, keeping yourself safe. I think the next thing would be like double shearing your steering at some point, but you know, that does get pricey. That starts to push up in that $700 to, you know, $1,000 range. Even if you're building it yourself, it's kind of expensive. But this stuff, you know, you're talking, I think like 170 or something like that, or whatever it was for the bolts, and then I'm sure this is another $100. But you could do it one at a time, you know. It's like these fit in your stock cam tabs. You don't need to do this, and then you can do this with your stock cam bolts, and then it's stronger. If you want to work your way up that way, that's a good option. I think it's the cheapest option. I think the next like expensive option could be like the Marlin Crawler. I believe it's, oh no, it's JD Fab. Maybe Marlin Crawler makes it too, but they make like a drop down lower pivot kit that basically welds in, you know, to the pivot points. You know, that's a lot more expensive. It's a lot more, you know, strong. You know, it's like super, you can go as strong as you want, but that's a good option too. You know, it's just a better version of this. But this is a good start, I think. I don't think that there's a cheaper, I got these from KPO, but I also bought the All Pro ones for other people. Those are pretty good, you know, at $90 or something like that, and it's, you know, good to go, and it's gonna help you out in the long run. Same with these are All Pro. I think it's funny because like all these companies make these for more money, and I think All Pro's, the cheapest one, is the coolest looking one, and it's, you know, really good quality stuff. Don't let the name fool you, because their stuff is legit. I've even heard of some testing on their +2, you know, over like a long travel kit from All Pro, and there's, you know, there's people, they tend to, seems like they like it. But these are awesome. I think another addition, you know, and they notch everything, like where the brake line goes through there and stuff like that. It's all good stuff. That's basically it for this one. You know, I think that there's a lot that we're going to do on the truck that is going to be filmed, but I just kind of wanted to go over, you know, all your little options here. Like same thing with this, another All Pro spindle. I think they look the coolest. But yeah. Just like that. I mean, it's pretty simple. You will have to clean up the backside to make sure that it's not contacting anything, but I mean, there's going to be a washer in between the bushings anyway, so it's not going to matter. pretty much you just need to bend these down, and then they get some channel locks and just kind of wiggle that sucker off. So that one came off easy. Drilled it out, tapped it off. It's over there now. Just gotta do that on all four. But I think since I'm over here, what people kind of overlook is triangulating from here to here, right? Without getting in the way of this, because even with the gusset kit, it will have the potential to be super strong and just move with the whole thing. You can try to prevent that by what I'll do is I'll just get a piece of, I'll get my my CAD out, my cardboard assisted design, and make a template right here to gusset across from this part of the frame to this tab. These will take the most amount of impact. It's the first part of the car that gets hit, from a bump or something like that. That will kind of keep it from doing that. The back is kind of tough. There's a way to do the same kind of idea, but still debating on if I'm going to get to that or not. But definitely at least the front I like to do. Kind of keeps things a little bit more square for longer. So once we got these off and welded in and stuff like that, I'll probably work on getting a gusset made for that. I'll add a quarter, 3/16. But yeah, so that's where we're at so far. So, I didn't go all the way through. I basically just, hit it with the drill for a little bit. Just about around the same size as the, a little rivet that's right there. And if you got one of these are like, I don't know, like 15 bucks or something like that. Harbor Freight, sponsor me. You can do it with a hammer. It works good. Little punch over there, but if you got one of these, it comes off pretty easy. As you can see, like, hard to do with one hand, but woo, you get the gist. Pops right off. If not, you can just hit it with the hammer. It just takes a little bit longer. That's how shitty these cam tabs are. I hit them just with this Harbor Freight freaking air hammer, and they just melt right off. Probably clean that one up with a grinder, but I mean, I didn't even drill that one, and I can knock it off pretty much. I got 3 of them right there. So just take your time, but if you got one of these, it helps. This is cheap. I mean, you don't have to buy. This is like a $10 tool maybe. I've had it forever. Works fine. But yeah, we're cracking away. If this is something you want to use, I usually sharpen them. The chisel it comes. This is the chisel it comes with. It kind of sucks at first. So you do got to sharpen it. I think it helps a lot. Oh shit! Bam. I mean, I didn't even drill that. It's just a sharp chisel and $15 air hammer. So these have to be welded in. These are like the little ears or whatever, right? Bang, they go like that. You're gonna want to weld those beforehand. So I like to, I'm gonna hit it with a little orbital. Really, you could weld straight on this. They do such a good job from KPO. So I mean, I'm just gonna give it a go with the little pad and tack these up, weld them. The backs of them need to be nice and flush afterwards, so I'll hit those with a grinder of some kind and then weld them onto the truck. I already got all the tabs, cleaned off, all the paint and whatnot, so that's next on the chopping block. So I like to have carpet when I do this, so we can just, oh my gosh. Doesn't take much, honestly, and they're already like ready to go. Just get some of the mill scale off. like I said, you could weld it straight onto them. It wouldn't really make a difference. So. And just like that, they're in there. Just kind of give you, I mean, if you haven't already got the gist of what's going on, you know, something like that. And I mean, you can just see not even tightened, you know. I mean, it's barely got any movement at all. It's in there good, you know. Welds, you know, I didn't weld all 360. I guess you could, but that's what I got. You know, shanked perfectly. That's another thing that's nice too. Is like these come, you know, perfectly shanked. Look at that. That's a big deal because when you have your arms riding on any type of bolt, whether it be a shock, whether it be a limit strap, anything that you do that has a type of pivot on it, or maybe strength for like you know, holding stuff up, like I said, like a limit strap, you don't want threads impeding on your tab. Because what'll happen is those threads, it's like a little mini saw, and slowly but surely it'll rub, you know, the control arm or whatever, and then you end up with the ovaled out pivot points. And I've seen that on a ton of different setups where they don't shank the bolts correctly, and then you end up you know, rubbing a hole or oval into your bolt or tab or whatever. Or not the bolt, into the you know, material that's holding it up. So the tabs, limit straps, anything like that. I hope that's, you know, helpful. Like I said, these things are awesome. I'm not gonna bore you with doing the other side or showing you. It's the same thing. We got the other one over here, and like I said, probably in the next one I'll triangulate that. But for now. Whoa. For now, we got it, you know, sitting pretty good until we get our axles in. You know, that's what this is hanging out for. But once we're able to cycle everything, and we'll have a good foundation for, you know, a pivot point. So stay tuned for the next ones. There's plenty coming. I mean, this is just the first one, really. Probably next vid I'm gonna do you know, the double shear kit for these upper arms. That's probably the next one on the bucket. That and a little bit of cycling once my, like I said, once my axles come in. But yeah, till next time.